Hello, my viewers and I think friends. You may remember that last time I uh, spoke about Germany by starting with a joke about the Germans, but then balancing it with a nice German song and some other songs. Now, what I'll do today is balance that by starting with a joke about the English, then a rather English song, but then I'm going to be vaguely serious and talk about Iran and what's happening in the world. It'll be brief, about 10 minutes altogether maximum. So I'll start with a nice little introduction anyway, just to relax a bit. That's for another time. Now, let's get straight into the joke then. Now, you know how the English are sometimes accused of being rather, so we say, material and realistic and pragmatic. Well, there's an international conference of scientists one year, and so the scientists meet from different countries and they go through their own experiments. And the English chap gets up and says, well, we found a frog and we shouted jump, and the frog jumped. Then we cut one of its legs off and we shouted jump, and it jumped. Then we cut another leg off and we shouted jump, and it jumped. Then we cut the third leg off and shouted jump, and it jumped. We then cut the fourth leg off and shouted jump. It didn't jump. So we conclude therefore that if you cut the four legs off a frog, it becomes deaf. Well, all right, let's balance that now with a nice little typically English, or would some say British, song with Greek connotations. Some talk of Alexander and some of Hercules, of Hector and Lysander and such great names as these. But of all the greatest heroes there's none that can compare with a row for the British Grenadier. Yes. And on that military note, I fear we turn now to Iran. Now, did you know that Iran is actually one of the most peaceful countries in the world? I do not think that modern Iran has ever attacked another country. It was attacked, as you know, by Saddam Hussein, egged on by the so-called West, and it had to defend itself. The countries that are now threatening it, the United States, the Jewish state, Britain, France, have all attacked other countries, and very often illegally, as you know. So be aware that Iran is actually, in terms of international relations, one of the more mature countries that does not make a habit of attacking other countries. And be aware also that Khamenei has far more authority than the other chap whose name I can never pronounce, Ahmadinejad, and recently stated very clearly that even the possession of nuclear weapons is against their religion, as it should be, of course, with other religions, but is not. Now, I'm rather worried that the United States of Israel is going to attack Iran before Putin actually takes up his presidential post. So it's going to be quite nasty. And if they do, if that does not cause a possible world war, it may initiate the process that over the next few years could lead to that further instability. We've already seen how much instability has been caused by illegal attacks based on lies on sovereign states. We've seen that the state of relations between states is quite messy at the moment. My own idea is that after the fall of the Berlin Wall, when the communists lost their god and the capitalists lost their devil, after all that, we have been descending into chaos, because NATO has been expanding manically, you know, the military-industrial complex and all that. Russia has been trying to consolidate and prevent it's being surrounded. And China, my goodness gracious me, that's another story. But do think carefully, all of you, and do what you can to prevent mad, insane attacks on sovereign states. Even as Winston Churchill said, jaw is better than war. And hope that this weakening American president does not give in totally to the more fanatic side of Zionism, and that the United States and Russia and China will come together to prevent one of the few states in the world which has nuclear weapons illegally, which is Israel, from indulging in risking a world war in which billions could die. Now, I'm sorry to sound so grim, but sometimes one has to balance grimness with happiness. Now, to finish off, I think perhaps a small piece by Manitas de Plata called Galop du Camargue, normally played with 2 or 3 guitars, but I try it with one. It's these horses galloping across the Camargue. Here we go. Wait a minute. No, let's do a quick Farruca instead. On second thoughts, all right. My goodness gracious me, I must get a lot of practice in there. But don't forget that Mozart said that the guitar is a miniature orchestra. I'm going to finish off by saying that sometimes in this fast and mad world, it can be good to follow the heart. And do not let the brain take over, because the brain, you see, suffers from an excess of reason, Cartesian reason, which can be the enemy of beauty. So on that note, I wish you well, and I'll consider doing a slightly more organized presentation, if that's what you want to call it, on another occasion quite soon. God bless and have a nice evening. Bye-bye.